Hi, Ken, and welcome to a Friday. It's the final Friday of April. May begins Monday.
You had a hard time saying it. May? It's actually May? Yeah.
May Day is coming
Monday.
up on Monday.
That's correct.
That's also the anniversary of the very first date between Dan and Missy.
Is that right?
Yes.
How about that? And you're still going strong.
May 1st, 1981. So that's 42 years ago now.
I think that your Taze Valley math is correct on that, yes.
Hard to believe. Where does time go? It just flies away, it seems. Welcome to the program as we jump into a weekend, the final weekend of April. It's going to be a rainy weekend. Started last night.
Mm-hmm. Or at least through early tomorrow. I think we're actually expecting rain today, high 66. Clouds instead of rain tomorrow with a high of 65. There is a 30% chance of rain on Sunday with a high 59, but temperatures will be down in the low 50s for a high on, I think, Monday, Tuesday, maybe Wednesday of next week.
And you can see that moisture making its way, coming up from the Atlantic coast into Ohio. So just if you want to see more about what's going on with the weather, just take a look at the weather app that we have on our website, littermedia.com. While you're there, click on any ad that you see for whatever the advertiser's name is.
Yes.
Click on that. That will take you either to their social media or their website so you can learn more about the people who support Dan and Mike.
And we didn't even confer on what shirts we're wearing today.
We did not.
It just happened that way.
Yours seems to be a little darker shade than mine.
Yeah. Well, I'm number 2. Dan's number 1, and I'm number 2. I'm darker, you know.
We did not name ourselves Dan and Mike. That was Dan Latham.
Dan Latham, sir.
Do you remember where that all came from? Remember the fluorescent pens for the fair?
Yeah, vaguely.
I think
That's when we had a promotion budget.
Yeah, this will be the Ross County Fair of 1994.
90.
Yeah, because it would have been August 94. He came into the studio and says, got something for you to see. Gave me this fluorescent green pen, turned it around and says, Dan and Mike in the morning. And I thought, wow.
It stuck.
We've got a name.
Yeah, for 20-some years, yeah.
Yeah, and Mike has been, I think, a little bitter about the fact that his name is second.
Well,
but
actually,
they always remember who's second.
That when Larry King put my name first on the picture, you were the one that was like, well, that's not the way it is. Yeah. Mike and Dan, yeah.
I tell you what, we've got the picture here.
Yeah.
Let's grab that during a commercial.
Okay.
We'll show it, and we'll tell the story about
That'll be the radio
how that
bit
got
for today.
signed for our radio moment to wrap up the show today. All right, coming up, we'll take a look at news. We've got sports, this date in history, all just ahead in a moment. But first, Scioto Valley Dumpsters, 740-253-8389 is their number. Give them a call. Let them know your needs. They can take care of you. If you have a building project you're doing and you need a dumpster, maybe you're just cleaning up a bunch of stuff out of your yard, it is spring cleaning time. Get a dumpster from Scioto Valley Dumpsters, 740-253-8389. Sports, next.
Find a career you love with Pickaway Ross Adult Education. Skilled trades careers are in high demand with no signs of slowing down. Pickaway Ross offers career training programs with expert instructors and hands-on learning tactics to create a variety of opportunities. Visit our website for more information.
At Rathkamp Financial, we believe in building client relationships for the long term, guiding you through the stages of wealth with a plan and bringing you closer to reaching your financial dreams. We believe in long-term relationships and working to earn your continued trust with our customized investment solutions.
During the commercial break, Mike ran and grabbed the photo. We will tell you more about this photo later in the program. In fact, how about for right now? Let's just
Put Larry up there to
Put Larry-
shine on. Yeah, there
we
we go.
go.
The late Larry King.
The late
There you
Larry
go.
King. We'll explain why this is important coming up at the end of the show. News, where are we starting?
Actually, we have several of our area counties that are in our news topics today. And we'll start out with the new Ross County Park District Executive Director, funny lady, Miranda Vance. She is a hoot. Longtime employee with the Park District after Joe Lecce resigned here a few months back. They actually did a nationwide search. And after that nationwide search, they went right back to their home office right here, Miranda Vance, the new executive director of the Ross County Park District. She said she liked this picture.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. Yeah.
Did she like the picture? or-
She liked the picture, and I think she liked the picture because it's got the microphone that says Litter Media.
Yeah,
that she's
I
holding
just
it.
love listening to Miranda talk. She's a Southern gal, and she really draws it out there. I get a hoot out of just listening to her talk. So, we'll maybe have her in
And
sometime down the
She
road.
gets a hoot out of hearing you say that every time, I'm sure, too.
Also in news, the Pickaway Ross Career and Technology Center USA Skills Team has won the state championship and will be headed to Atlanta, Georgia for the national competition. Mackenzie Tackett, Caden Wilson, Sidney McGlone represent the community service team, while Brock Sheets will be in the CNC milling competition. Ohio University Chillicothe's graduating education majors recently participated in mock interviews with local educators and administrators to help hone their interview skills and prepare them for the job hunt, while learning what their local school districts are searching for in new teacher candidates. Gubernatorial appointments, not opponents. We're talking so much about who's running for president. I got an opponent on the mind. Appointments include Frank Welsh of Asheville, up in Dan's neck of the woods, old neck of the woods. He's been reappointed to the advisory board on the amusement ride safety department. Dr. John Boyle of Chillicothe appointed to the state medical board. Garrett Meek of Pickerington in Fairfield County has been appointed as a student member on the Ohio University Board of Trustees. And Joy Davis of Logan in Hocking County has been reappointed to the Ohio Tax Credit Authority.
How do we get Mike Smith appointed to something?
I'd probably have to bribe some politician to get on. Where?
That doesn't happen. What are you talking about?
What do you mean? Waverly second graders and Tiger student athletes are teaming up with the Second and Seven Foundation to take on reading. The foundation promotes reading and encourages high school athletes to be positive role models by partnering with young students. Now, the kids you see there from the Waverly track team are Alex Stoller reading to second graders, while teammates Mitch Green and Logan Long follow along. Now, this program was put together back in 1999 by former Ohio State football players Ryan Miller, Luke Fickle, and Mike Vrabel. Now, you said you had an interview with Ryan about this.
Yeah, this was back during the radio days, and I can't remember what year it was, but we talked about this program.
Yeah, very good. So good to see the Waverly high school kids be an example for the youngsters there. Working Together for Wellness has a free all-ages event tomorrow at the Pickaway County Fairgrounds. Look for food trucks, free screenings, and resources from the Adena Mammogram Bus and interactive activities going on from 10 a.m. until 2 p.m. Also in Circleville tomorrow, Tasties, which is located at 410 South Pickaway Street, will host their first anniversary celebration from 11 to 7, with a portion of their proceeds benefiting The Table, which is operated by the Heritage Nazarene Church, along with the organization Foundations for Youth. So good to see a business giving back to some nonprofit organizations. ODNR and numerous local dignitaries will officially celebrate improvements to the Wellston Recreation Complex with a ribbon ceremony, cutting ceremony at 9 a.m. tomorrow. Now, the Wellston Recreation Complex project is funded by the Abandoned Mine Land Economic Revitalization Program through the U.S. Department of the Interior. At completion, $2 million has been utilized for improvements at the Wellston Recreation Complex.
Now, this map that you're looking at is 3 years old. This is from the Ohio Department of Natural Resources when they were planning this project. So grateful to hear that it's completed.
Yeah, good stuff down in Wellston. Also tomorrow from 2 to 4 p.m., Martha and George Washington will be guests at tea at the First Presbyterian Church. Well, that's the
Wrong
Turkey
graphic
Festival.
for that.
But we're just telling you about this. We actually had this on earlier in the week, but reminding you, this event is at the First Presbyterian Church tomorrow. It's put on by the Nathaniel Massey DAR. Now, next week, the Vinton County Wild Turkey Festival in MacArthur will be May the 4th through the 7th, but the main stage entertainment, which you see posted there, will be Friday through Sunday of next week down in MacArthur.
Now, George Washington's good friend Ben Franklin wanted the wild turkey to be the official national bird.
That is correct.
So it kind of goes together with
Yeah.
our
And we got the
Washington.
eagle instead.
I don't know how Martha felt about that.
Pickaway County Sheriff's Office DARE program is selling thin blue line wristbands to support law enforcement community. They have youth and adult sizes. The wristbands are $3 a piece. The wristbands will be available for purchase Monday through Friday between the hours of 8 a.m. and 4 p.m. at the Pickaway County Sheriff's Office front desk, or you can contact Deputy Pete Bowers. All proceeds from the wristbands will benefit the Ruth Neff Dare Fund. And if you remember, Ruth was a longtime Pickaway County Commissioner, and she was a dear friend of mine for the number of years that I was up there covering the Pickaway County Commissioners' meetings.
Also in Pickaway County, starts tomorrow. It's the Asheville Viking Festival, and this runs through Sunday. And this video is put together by Info Pickaway, and saw this on YouTube earlier this week, and this is a pretty cool event. It was started by a fellow classmate of mine who's no longer with us, Ed Villette. Ed was, and in fact, there's I wish I would have thought about doing this. There was a picture of him in his Viking garb sitting at either the Viking Festival, or he did this he also reenacted down at the Ohio Renaissance Festival.
Yeah. Okay.
And you talk about somebody who looked the part. Ed Villette looked the part. So we lost Ed several years back, and everybody that's there always thinks about him when they go. The price of admission, bring a canned food item for the food pantry in Pickaway County.
What's the other event, Asheville? It's just the community festival? That's later in the year.
The Asheville 4th of July?
Is it? It's the same park, right?
Yes. This takes place, I believe, where Asheville Elementary is.
Okay.
Now, Asheville Elementary is next to the Asheville Park, and that's where all the 4th of July stuff takes place.
Gotcha.
And I think they do utilize part of that park for this.
Which is a very nice, a very large park. So head on up there tomorrow and or Sunday.
And remember, the 4th of July, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th is when they hold the celebration days in Asheville.
Very good. Our ODOT road report today is in Highland County, bridge replacement on Straight Creek Road about a half a mile west of State Route 41. The road will remain closed for the duration of construction. During traffic, the detour is Route 41, Sinking Spring Road, and Elmville Road, and that goes through this summer. Sports coming up.
All right, the sportscast coming up in just a moment, and the explanation as to why Larry King is here in front of us on our broadcast table in the Litter Media Loft. All right, coming up in just a moment, we'll also take a look at this date in history, so stick close for that. I want to take a moment to tell you about Accurate Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing, your trusted comfort advisor. I was following one of their trucks on the way home last night from work, and I'm going to guess it was Mitch Higgins was probably driving it, because I think Mitch lives down by my place. And so I'm driving along, and I'm thinking to myself, oh, he's got generators, they've got electrical work, they've got all this stuff on the back of the tailgate of the pickup truck that he was driving. So you want to find out more about what they do, just click on this ad anywhere you see it at littermedia.com. It'll take you to learn more about Accurate Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing. Sports next.
Budweiser beer, the king is second to none.
Who drinks Budweiser? You know the type. The people who grind. Those who don't back down. and the ones who don't quit. They say all people are 6 degrees of separation away from each other, but some are just a six-pack away. The people who share the same spirit share the same beer. This Bud's for you.
As a professional race car driver, I live for speed, power, and performance on and off the track. That's why I use the Dixie Chopper, the world's fastest lawnmower. Race into your local dealership today and test drive a new Dixie Chopper.
This is Big Chillicothe. Horizon's 100% fiber internet service is coming to your area. Call 740-772-8331 or visit horizonconnects.com/Chillicothe to sign up today.
Before we get into sports, a reminder, McDonald's every Wednesday has Meet the Manager Day for open interviews from 2 until 5. That happens at their 7 locations here in the Chillicothe area, 4 in Chillicothe proper, to the north of us in Circleville, to the west of us in Greenfield, and south of us in Waverly. McDonald's.
I went to the one on Western Avenue yesterday. Did you? And when they were ringing my order up, it didn't add the tax. And I said, am I tax exempt for some reason? They got me with the tax later on.
Once again, Mike Smith.
Exception to the rule. Sports.
I said McDonald's.
Oh, I wanted to tell you about my experience yesterday. Obviously, I was there, so I'm loving it.
Let's do this the proper way. McDonald's.
I'm loving it.
Thank you.
And I was yesterday afternoon on Western Avenue. Yesterday, we told you about Waverly winning their 6th straight SOC Boys Tennis Championship. Well, today,
there's Taze Valley winning the Buckeye.
We're talking
division.
about 2 other teams that added their name to championship list. There's the Vikings in the Mid-State League, and Chillicothe Boys Tennis does likewise in the FAC for a 2nd straight year. The Cavs win yesterday came over Jackson 4-1. Those were the individual winners for Chillicothe in yesterday's match. And I think I told you 2 days ago or maybe yesterday, the drawing for the tennis tournaments is also this weekend along with girls softball. Mm-hmm. We hope to have that stuff loaded on our website at littermedia.com Sunday somewhere around 3:30. I'll be in Mason, Ohio, so if I can't get a Wi-Fi signal where I am, I may be yelling to Dan, I need you to bail me out there. So be looking for that at about 3:30.
Just make sure it's before 5:30 because I've got church service to get to.
Usually I have it loaded by 4, unless the district's running behind on that.
Which is a good possibility.
Yeah. The Ross County Christian Academy, they're having a boys volleyball tournament coming up at the RCCA gym, which is on the Brookside Church campus location. This is a boys volleyball tournament coming up on May the 13th. 4 Christian schools, including RCCA, will be participating that day starting at 11 a.m. And something called the NFL Draft was held last night. And this guy from Ohio State was the number 2 overall pick.
Right behind Bryce Young. But look at this. He was the first of 3 Buckeyes to be taken in the first round. That makes it now 483 draft picks that have been selected from the Ohio State University.
That's pretty impressive.
Yes. Bengals picked up this fella, Miles Murphy from Clemson, so he'll be looking to get into a position there at the defensive line. And the NFL Draft, if you want to see all of who was selected, we mentioned that there were 3 Buckeyes taken in the draft. And what I need to do now is pull this up so I can see it a little closer in my eyes. Paris Johnson Jr. was taken by Arizona, like we suggested yesterday, but Arizona must have traded their pick because Houston had back-to-back picks where they took C.J. Stroud, followed by Will Anderson Jr., Bryce Young, by the way, who was the number 1 overall. But Paris Johnson Jr. comes in at number 6, and then later in the draft, the Seattle Seahawks took Jackson Smith and Jigba at number 20. So there you have that. Now, where are the Browns picking here? Because
today
they are number 42. But just for those of you that wondered, they got their first pick, Deshaun Watson.
Yeah. How many picks did they give up for him?
I want to say it was 3.
So he's not holding 3 up. He's holding something else up.
I think it
Number
was
4.
3 of this year's picks, maybe one more pick next year.
Yeah.
His 4 is his number. 4 there.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So I saw this on Twitter yesterday, and I thought to myself, this is kind of cool. That gives Cleveland fans a little more. We don't have to worry about teaching a rookie from that first-round draft.
Yeah.
Reds will be in
The who?
Oakland. The Reds. My lips got in the way.
Reds.
The Reds will be breaking ground in Oakland tonight, and Cleveland will be in Boston to take on the Boston Red Sox.
Oakland, who recently announced that they're moving to Las Vegas at the 2025 season, I think. I think they're supposed to break ground on their new stadium in 2024. So, oh well. Just part of the dealings of professional sports.
And everything seems to happen in Vegas now. Vegas has an NHL franchise. They've
Yeah.
got an NFL franchise. That's where all the NBA plays when they get their draft. They have that draft in June, then they have this league in Las Vegas. And I'm guessing that might be so that they can one day put an NBA franchise in Las Vegas as
I'd
well.
say that is correct.
So we'll see how that plays out. All right, coming up, a look at this date in history and why the late Larry
King.
is on our. I wanted you to participate.
Oh, I
Is
didn't know
why
what you
he's
were
on
doing.
our table.
Okay.
It's like
I don't,
McDonald's.
I don't watch this show. I don't know what you're doing. Oh, golly. How many actors have you heard say that? They make a movie and they've never watched the film they made.
Well, you think about it, and they make that movie, and then it goes into its post-production, and it may have been a year or two, and look what happened with Top Gun Maverick.
Right. got
How long did they
delayed.
have to wait?
Yeah, a few years. Yeah.
So, coming up, a look at this date in history. We're going back to
1789,
not quite as far back as we did yesterday.
4000 BC.
Yeah, that's
yesterday.
right. It was a long time last time. All right, coming up, we'll take a look at, as Mike said, this date in history next.
Hi, I'm Dave Pinkerton with Advanced Services Heating and Cooling, your local heating and cooling expert. If you want quality service, quality installation, give Advanced Services a call, 740-773-4499.
You haven't had vodka soda like this. No one has. Made with the world's smoothest vodka plus real juice. New White Claw Vodka Soda.
For transportation options in Ross County, call Ross County Health District's Mobility Management Team, 740-779-9652.
This is Andy Tomlinson. When ensuring what's important to you, our agents are there when you need us the most. Tomlinson Insurance, for the best coverage at the best cost. Visit us online at tomlinsonins.com to learn more.
And later today, we will be hearing from Marty Ford from Kingston National Bank. He'll be stopping in for a Litter Media special edition.
Ask him if he can sing you a song while he's here.
You know, he just texted me a moment ago. He was like, where do I need to come? What do I have to do? And so I should probably say, bring your guitar.
Yeah, bring the guitar. About what time will that be on?
1 o'clock is when we're scheduled for.
Gotcha. All righty.
All right, this date in history.
1789, 3 weeks into a journey from Tahiti to West Indies, the HMS Bounty is seized in a mutiny led by Fletcher Christian, the master's mate. Captain William Bligh and 18 of his loyal supporters were set adrift in a small open boat, and the Bounty set course for Tubize, I believe is how you pronounce that, south of Tahiti. By setting him adrift in an overcrowded 23-foot-long boat in the middle of the Pacific, Christian and his conspirators had apparently handed him to a death sentence. But by remarkable seamanship, Bligh and his men reached Timor in the East Indies on June 14th of this same year, after a voyage of 3,600 miles. Think of that. Now, that's been made into a couple of movies. If you thought this was fiction, no, this really happened. But what I learned this time in reading this story, this was not the only time that the crew that Captain Bligh was leading had a mutiny. Bligh fell prey to a total of 3 mutinies in his career. Now, what's that say about your leadership? Apparently, he was a very oppressive commander and insulted those under him. So this wasn't the only time that Captain Bligh was basically rebelled against by his crew. But that happened with the HMS Bounty on this date in 1789.
I'm here to lead. I'm not here to sugarcoat.
Oops, as I go overboard.
Yeah.
Right. No references of being swallowed by a large fish or
So were the
anything
3 mutiny attempts, was that, I'm trying to think, was that the
Afterwards.
same ship?
No.
Or was this 3 separate ships?
Different crews, different ships.
Wow.
Captain. That's why when you ever hear somebody referred to as Captain Bligh, it's not usually in a positive sense. So there you go.
Gotcha. So, what about this this photo here? Some time ago on our radio show, Tim Scouten joined us. Tim was a senior producer for the Larry King program. And I'm trying to show this on the camera so that
And we had Tim on this program.
We had Tim on this program as well, which you can see on our YouTube channel. But I don't remember asking for an autographed photo of Larry King, but this just came in the mail one day. And there's written down here on the side in silver Sharpie, it says, "To Mike and Dan, thanks, Larry King." And so we've always been known as Dan and Mike. That's how we started the program, talking about Dan and Mike. Except you can tell who's not a listener because they think Mike and Dan.
Well, Larry, being the national and world-known talent, knows talent, so he put me first, right?
Yeah, precisely. And so Tim was telling us in the interview, he said, Larry, when he said, let's autograph a picture for him. We'll send a picture to him. And who do I make the names out to? And he says, Dan and Mike. And he says, which one watches the show? Mike does. His name goes first.
See? I tried to tell you, yeah. But Larry's radio program was on WBEX for a number of years.
It was, yeah.
Started out, obviously, in the overnight, and then they moved it to an afternoon show, and that lasted maybe 2 or 3 years.
Well, he was afternoon when I started here in Chillicothe in '94 and with BEX. And after that, his show came to an end.
David
Brenner came on.
in.
And there was discussion about David Brenner. How long is this going to last? Well, he died, didn't he?
Yeah, I think so.
During the running of the show. And so it came to an end. And then we put on our friend Gary Burbank in the afternoon, who he had told me, he says, we were having contract talks. And I think at the time, the acting program director was Willie Cunningham. And he said they got into a tiff over money or something. He said, I picked up the desk and threw it over, and everything goes sliding off, and Gary was walking out the door. Well, they asked, what's going to get you back with us? What's going to help you stay in Cincinnati? And he says, syndication. And that's when they syndicated his afternoon show. And I think the problem with the afternoon show was that it just didn't carry over on a national basis because of the little things that he used to do, like All My Bengals.
Yeah, local humor. Yeah.
It didn't catch on in Chicago or some of the other large markets. And the city council bits that he used to do, where he would do the voices for each one of the council persons. And you can't do that on a national scale unless you focus on Congress and so on and so forth. And the great satire that Gary always was famous for. And I miss his show.
Yeah, he was a hoot.
Now, his show ended because he retired and stepped away. So nothing tragic happened there.
Right.
But it was just a matter of, you know what? It's time to go play with the grandkids.
Yeah.
I remember him telling me, we were speaking of Gary Burbank, his wife worked for Delta Airlines. Carol, I believe, was her name. And he said, we bought a place down in Florida, set up a studio and everything inside the house. And so he said we would fly down to Florida using their Delta miles, I guess. And they would fly down to Florida. He says, I would set the suitcase down, open it up, and Carol would go, I miss the grandkids. Close the case and get back. So they sold their place in Florida and stayed in, I think he lives outside of Florence, Kentucky.
Yeah.
So
another friend of ours, of course, from we were talking about WBEX there, Charlie Derrick, who was the morning syndicated talent for many years on WKKJ. Charlie does a show on another radio program, and his house is on the beach in the Gulf of Mexico. And he posted the other day on Facebook, because Charlie and I kept in touch, and he said, I'm prepping for today's show, and he's got a picture of his computer out on the sand, and I said, how do you keep sand out of your computer? And he said, that's what my producer does, probably his wife. But I said, that's a pretty nice gig, except in hurricane season, of course. But.
Precisely. But that's not the only, I mean, there's been many radio shows who have had remote locations. I mean, Rush Limbaugh started his big syndication. He was at WABC in New York. His radio show, I believe, started in Sacramento, if I'm not mistaken. But the last, 30 years of his show were down in Florida. Yeah. Moved down there to get away from the state tax in New York. John Frame.
Yeah.
And I don't know if John still lives here in Chillicothe or not.
I don't know about that.
He was a contributing editor to the Chillicothe Gazette, but he used to work mornings up in Columbus Radio, and he had a studio in his penthouse in the Levesque Tower.
Yeah.
And he would do the morning show on WCOL from his house.
You and I talked about it'd be nice if we could have gotten a studio built in the spire of the Carlisle building, overlooking downtown Chillicothe. That didn't work out. But.
Well, we didn't get the request in when they were building doing all the refurbishment and everything. And now that's part of one of the apartments for Adina. Right. So,
in fact, we've been in there. Isn't that where we did an interview with?
With Hope, not Hope Clinic.
Hope Project.
The Hope Project. Yeah. You can still see that on our YouTube channel. Just search, let's see, how would we say it? Well, if you search Hope Project, it should show up on YouTube. Who all was in that?
Dr. Gabus, I think Jack Everson was in that.
That was after he had left the mayoral seat, right?
I can't think of there was a lady there from, maybe from Medina, I'm not real sure, but that was in that. But yeah, go to YouTube and you can find that. Yeah. Then you can tell us who we interviewed.
I suppose I could look it up on my phone, but yeah, there's more than 1,100 videos on our YouTube channel. So if you're looking and you're just bored and you don't have anything else to do, take a look at some of our YouTube videos. You can see what's going on in our community. We do our best to highlight our community. And whenever there's something that you want us to talk about, make a suggestion. I mean, you see, if you have been paying attention, there's our email address right now on screen. Just send us an email, and hopefully we'll be able to, or you can send us a Facebook message. A lot of people have done that.
And for our new friends in Fairfield County, Lancaster area that are watching, same there. We try to feature you folks in the first and third Wednesday morning of the month, Pickaway County the second and fourth. But in those communities as well, reach out and say, hey, I got a great idea for an interview, and we'll reach out.
And you can comment on a lot of our things. You can comment on our stories on our website, littermedia.com. We had a comment the other day on the Don McElroy interview asking if we would do something similar with the mayor of Chillicothe. Well, maybe after the election is done. Yeah. We can, if he wins re-election, we can go ahead and go forward with no issues. If he loses he can look back.
Yeah.
Whichever the case may be. But Tom McElroy was not running for office.
And the same with when we talked to Dave at the mayor of Lancaster, he's not running for re-election.
Yeah, so we're trying to stay out of the political game here, folks. But we will highlight again things.
But we did have Luke on last calendar year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was on to talk about the fireworks, to talk about some other things as well. So it's not that we're straying away completely from that, but there's just, this is the election period.
Yeah, let's get out of the political season, and then we can do that.
Precisely. All right, that's a look at the program today. I've got a special edition of the show coming up with Kingston National Bank. That is just around the corner at 1 o'clock this afternoon. So until then, I'll see you later. Mike and I will both see you later on Monday with another edition of Litter Media